Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Hello, YouTube-Otaku here. I'm never going to do that voice again, so never fucking expect it. Back at you again with another YouTube episode of me. Now, this is going to be a little different video because normally we would be reading a book or spinning a flow. But we're not doing that right now. We're going to just converse a little bit. I know the camera angle is just slightly off. If you're watching, perhaps I can adjust a little. Either way, let's begin with our normal session of here. I really want to appreciate everybody's time and effort into joining me here today, because it's definitely not easy getting here. So many of us pass away every year. And not even not even purely physical. Oh yeah, like of all video sessions, please have your equipment ready, things to sit back and enjoy as I even water right here. Bam, I got water. So that means you should have some water too. There's a lot that goes on within a person's life cycle, however many times that you're going to keep going throughout the seasons of change and the nature of it all. There's a bit of piece of us that we like to believe stays consistent throughout the course of our life. And some people would like to believe that there's more about a person than what just comes from inside them. They feel like they could become something more. And it doesn't sound very confident at first, the way that I'm approaching it, but from the perspectives I've seen people provide, there's actually a pretty large consistency that comes along with having a more broader mindset towards the situation. And it's just more advantageous to a person to allow themselves the potential of knowledge rather than the luxury of bliss from the absence of that knowledge. Honestly, it's just a part of growing up that's not a lot of people are going to define to you in terms of authenticity. They're going to try to sugarcoat the lackadaisious efforts into being a full-fledged individual, and it would more likely be their own, like they're trying to convince themselves that what they're going through is bearable, but truly, like a lot of individuals find that the life that they've come across, the life that they've gained is lackluster, or they could find it in themselves to keep searching and do actually conjure up some type of permanence of dignity. And majority of the time that comes up to like spontaneous childbirth or planned childbirth, if you're a really good fucking individual, there's more cases where you find people in shaman like states. They're gonna find themselves guiding a set of people, whether they like it or not. And if you just find yourself none the wise, then you're more likely still continuing the search of where it is that you're actually trying to get to. And you may not even know that right now, or you could be somebody on the journey. See, my homeboy Superior superior taco is not listening to my responses. I was trying to tell him, look, I don't got the Saints Row game anymore. I just got through beating it, which that game was amazing. The 22 reboot, oh my goodness. If you haven't checked it out before and you have a gaming console, please go and check out that motherfucking game, because it is badass. On the right substance. Well, the conflictions I've been finding on that are, yeah, like, does the center of me, the person that grew up before I became, honestly, I'm just gonna say it, like, self-conscious. You know, once you sit there and reflect on yourself and try to find comparison, it's very hard to go back and seeing the type of potential that you could be. It's always a numbers game when it comes to that. That's why comparison is the killer of joy. Either way, you're gonna find yourself where you want to be if you really want to get there. And honestly, I've been doing pretty good. Finding myself on the path of acknowledging where I want to go or what I want to be. At least I hope I have, because I'm making some pretty darn big decisions, in my opinion. The way that my life's been going and the way that I could see it turning out, it's a lot more hopeful than it was a couple years ago, where Adam basically didn't even exist. He didn't even know what the hell the term Adam even meant anymore whenever it came out of his mouth. I know that sounds dramatic too. I'm gonna be honest. Further of why, and if you're participating, then please don't, like, overdo it, because I didn't shoot my throat, but it's like getting to that point. That's why I'm taking, like, because I was doing, like, and then they were getting there we go. But that in itself wasn't leading to, sadly, it was good in the moment, because kind of, I know it's awful to say, kind of combines that head rush with the fucking high, and the moment was just like, yeah, da-da-da. It's not so much like that when your voice kind of hurts when you're sleeping. That's not cool. So, like, and some people don't have that opportunity. They're so caught up in their contraption of distractions, is what I like to believe, that they don't have any more time to self-reflect. And once you actually come across that time to self-reflect, it's almost scary at times, because you're like, I don't want to look in the mirror, or if I don't want to look in the metaphorical mirror. I'm okay with looking at myself all the time, but now I'm going to have to look at what I'm not, basically. I'm going to have to look at what I'm not able to do and go figure out if I'm able to go do that. And I really got to go figure that out, because if I don't know if I can figure it out, that's even worse than knowing I can't figure it out. And that makes sense to me, because it's a lot more, maybe it's not the right way to go. Maybe there's a better way to go about figuring something like that out, but so far as I've realized, you better damn well go do it. Or if you choose to not attempt to go figure it out, figuring out is going to happen without your consent or not. And that's just the natural state of life. Like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? Just wait and figure it out. Like, just wait and watch. You don't even have to acknowledge the world around you to just figure it out, because it will figure it out for you. You could choose to sit there and attempt a schematic plan. You want to fucking just write it off as the cheapest way possible. Yeah, I got a plan. No. You need a whole fucking scheme, like a heist almost, to escape out of fucking dependence in this life. And a lot of people, good fucking for you, do it. Amen. I'm glad that people can figure that out. If you got the opportunity and you got the wits enough to combine in an actual fucking display of independency, you're a fucking baller in my book. Congratulations. I will kiss you the next time I see you. I don't give a fuck. Congratulations, you made it for now. If for now doesn't turn into then. Oh my gosh, my great parents made it back then. Look at me. That's what I hope that my great grandkids would say about me one day. That's what any reasonable producer of their continuous existence is going to manifest their motivations from. That's honestly the best way I could sit there and describe. Yeah, the thing that would make me happy is to know that even when I'm passed away, people are still rejoicing my success. It's inspiring. Shirley's Temple. I'm just playing. Don't listen to me. I'm just having fun. I gotta close that bottle. Every time I don't close a water bottle, nothing good ever happens. The point of this video, because I don't even know what I'm gonna call this video yet, is how to construct a scheme. Because we don't want to just call it a plan anymore. It's almost like names, kind of. That you have to go about figuring out a conversation or elaborations into understanding something, is that you're going to actually have to be willing to be exaggerant in an extent to forego. See, that's the issue right there. You're gonna sit there and keep trying to roll this ball down that hill, but sometimes there's gonna be a bump or two that's gonna, now that's not smooth, so that's gonna fuck up the flow. That's my family's told me of this in my life, that yeah, you need to go figure out more. That's precisely what I'm trying to do, y'all. I'm trying to go figure that out so I can explain it to myself, explain it to y'all. But I don't need to explain nothing to y'all, but in explaining it to y'all, it kind of explains to myself how this goes, that you're gonna want that accession into your livelihood. It's like having a fucking cheerleader behind you without a person being there, and that every word could be a extension of your fruitions. That's why it's so important to create this, like, all the way down to the micro level, all the way up to the biggest causations to your success is the precision and the accuracy of what each one goes through, because there shouldn't be any more room for misconjecture. I want to say I said that last word right, misconjecture. That there's no error or flaw that a person could sit there and point out. And that doesn't sound like it's fun or plausible, because there's like so much chaos and stuff that goes on to it. Though people really want to nitpick others' plans, I'm just gonna call it what they are. It's not so much you as much the extension of everybody a part of that scheme. It's like, is everybody on the same page? And when does people start losing themselves in those pages? And that's the scariest part of all, because you could be the smartest fucking person in the world, but if you need a whole crew to back you up, damn. Is there a line to be drawn? And how far into this are we going to find that line? It's not easy. I could see into the future. That's where I always had life, by my thin razor's edge. Is I could always see into the future, or so I believe, so I always acted on it. And you could call me as full of shit as much as you like, but that was my problem. And when you act on what you think is the future, you're not allowing the world to it's supposed to have its ripples in a positive way if you've done it right. You know, you're supposed to go. There was a saying I remember hearing that we all go down a dark path, but it's alright to have a neighbor or two. And damn. You have a lot of neighbors. You could be called blessed for that. And the hardest part about being blessed is watching others take that blessing and twist it into what you would consider curse. Yeah, there's the drama queen coming out that there's issues to be poked for, like let's fuck around and find out. Who the fuck do you think you are to be fucking around? You're just supposed to sit there and be grateful to be alive. And to be a problem enough to find satisfaction in your 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 misery is not an object to fuel your satisfactions. Fuck, I don't like my life so much that I really want to go see what happens if I fuck with yours. It's not supposed to be what humans are designed to be too. And you may ask yourself, well, who are you to decide that? Who are you to say humans are supposed to be at peace? What if we're like every other animal at the mercy of the fucking nature of this world, and we are the bearers of those chaotic arms? We're the strongest, we're the smartest. Why can't we go and do all that? There's nothing I love more than expressing myself. It's ironic how when a person goes to express themselves, the judgment lies in their actions of possibilities and not by the inputs of their convictions towards the passion. The greatest names out there of infamy have all been stricken by dominance, and it's transparent to me how vicious it requires famous people to be. There's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. But if you glorify that infamy into pleasure, all you're doing is just multiplying the chaos of that. It's a terrible, it's an equation of symbolics. Like, you know how there's numbers in math? Well, there's meaning in existence. And when you like put all these meanings of existence into a certain framework, you end up with this. And you could fucking love or hate this, but this exists. And people want to use this as the catalyst for their efforts. And that is not what you should be striving for. That is not where the glory lies in being next. The glory lies in you pushing that away and becoming the next opening of it. You can't sit there and rely purely on the integrity of all these different convictions that weren't yours into leading the goals of your existence. Like, that's not, and everybody loves to do it. I think it's all just a fucking facade, like a big wig. We've all decided to sit there and dress up as our favorite hero that day, and then meet each other and like expect to be even half as anything towards that. And I think that's where a lot of people sit there and get wrong about being here in life, is that you could be just as much of a hero as the person you were always looking to have save you. And there's nothing stopping you from doing that. The only thing that comes and stops you from doing that is the present. The present comes to stop you from being everything you can be in the future. And you could take a moment or two to really examine the present for your future, because that's where it really matters. It's like, if you could see into the future for the rest of your life, how would you react in that moment, always walking into the future? You'd be constantly editing, trying to analyze, trying to do things to sit there and attempt to create some function inside of your head that is meaningful in like the edits of those edits. And it will all degrade down into chaos of just a spiral that would never go in your direction. That's why you have to allow things to be as they are and to go with it as they should. There's a lot of great movies out there that depict that. I couldn't name a lot of them, but one of them is I believe it's the Traveling Brotherhood or the Traveling Sisterhood movie that, yeah, they ended off with the character living two lives. The lives of the one that they didn't stop time, and the life that they did stopping time as much as they possibly could. And they passed away from both of those times at that final moment, feeling that completion of, but they'll never have that third option of, I didn't know I could stop time, because they really had that on wrap. And it's been so long that I couldn't sit there and say if they touched upon that or not, but I could only imagine that the, I guess, aspirations of being somebody who could confront that is who I'm trying to symbolize in a way. And you could go off and be like, you'll just be a figure of Jesus, or you'll be a figure of Buddha or Gandhi, or somebody who's like great-willed into stepping forward into the unknown. No. I'm so sorry for biting my nails right now. I'm such a fucking savage. Forgive me. The figure is no longer of a set. It's no longer towards a person anymore. It's honestly a state of being. And that has no human construct. It's not a person anymore. It's all a feels thing from there. And I've talked to many people, and they all agree that swimming is probably your best bet in this life to attempt at getting used to the afterlife. Just as you were born into this moon unconscious of existence, but existing in that unconscious, you will be floating in the vastness of the womb that is infinity until your existence is called upon again, in whatever form that may be. And I could imagine it however I want to, but I'll never do it justice. I'll never be able to perfectly picture that next beyond, because it'll be its own form of existence. And that existence will have its meaning. That build-up, it's so messy, as I like to imagine it as well too, because, you know, we go into existence through a clump of cells and all these, there's a set of things, like we're all just popping out with a certain number of whatever's in. There we are. And I like to imagine in the next life that there's also another set of things that we're just popping in there, and that's just what we are. It's not even fair to be like, it'll be nice. It'll have its own feeling. And that's why it has to be there, because it's just so beyond what we could sit there and imagine. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, a good way I could sit there and give it imagery would be, imagine like being stabbed while orgasming. That contrast, and it could very well be just a mere moment of that next existence, and it would have to be called peace, potentially. And that's what I mean necessarily by we shouldn't have to forego into that next step of life. We could just be here and laugh about it, laugh about those kind of things, and we shouldn't be called silly for that either. That comparison, that ridicule that I was talking about, is, I think it should be fair amongst people to sit there and laugh about